StadiumDB.com presents Premier League Stadiums of the 2021-22 season. The 2020-21 season is over and we know all clubs of the 2021-22 Premier League campaign. That's why we like to show you the stadium presentations of the upcoming campaign. You can learn more about each of the presented stadiums on our website, where you'll also find loads of great images that didn't fit into this video. Just follow the links in the video description. We wish you a lot of fun watching this video, and don't forget to let us know in the comments below which stadium is your favourite. Etihad Stadium. The facility was built to host the 2002 Commonwealth Games. New stands were created right after that competition. Instead of a temporary stand behind one of the goals, a permanent structure was built identical to the one on the other side of the playing field. Athletic track was disassembled and playing field lowered. In 2014-15, the stadium underwent the first expansion since it was taken over by the citizens. A third tier was added to the south stand with over 6,000 seats. In March of this year, Manchester City announced removal of approximately 1,100 seats from the first three rows of the north, east and south stands. Seats were replaced by digital signage. The club has a long-term plan to expand the north stand so that the total capacity of the ground could reach 60,000. Old Trafford. It's known as the Theatre of Dreams. The term was coined by Sir Bobby Charlton. It's currently the largest stadium in the Premier League. In England, only Wembley is bigger than Old Trafford. Steep slope of the roof towards the pitch is one of the most characteristic features of the ground. The last major expansion so far took place in 2005-06, when two northern corners were filled with brand new facilities. Since 2005, £100 million has been invested in the stadium. It's long been planned that the capacity could exceed 80,000 if the southern part of the facility was successfully expanded. Further interventions are planned for this summer, when safe standing will finally arrive at the stadium. The first section will appear in the northeast corner. Anfield. First leaseholder of the venue was actually Everton. Liverpool moved to Anfield in 1892. Story of the Kop, one of the most famous stands in the world, began in 1928. It was then expanded to 30,000 standing places, where die-hard fans had gathered over the years. Significant changes took place at the stadium in late 90s, with remodelling of the stands and conversion to all-seated layout. In 2014-16, the facility underwent its largest partial reconstruction to date. The western stand grew from 1 to 3 tiers. Expansion of the north stand on Anfield Road side is planned, which will increase the capacity by 7,000 for the 2023-24 season. The Reds have made all their tickets digital starting the new campaign. Stamford Bridge. The venue opened in 1877, but for the first decade it was used for athletics competitions. It wasn't until 1905 that the owner of the ground formed Chelsea FC after Fulham refused to play at the stadium. In the decades that followed, the facility underwent many changes, one of which in the 1970s almost led to the club's collapse. A new east stand was then built, but its costs were growing at an alarming pace, and not only was it not enough to finance remaining stands, but the club was on the verge of bankruptcy. Only in the 90s, after the Taylor Report, the athletics track was removed, adding new stands or tiers on each side. Plans of rebuilding or leaving the stadium are currently on hold. King Power Stadium. When the old ground became too cramped, decision was made to relocate. Eventually, the Foxes moved out about 150 metres south of the original location. In November 2000, the plan to build a 32,000-seater was presented. The simple structure made of steel prefabs was completed in just 1 year. From 2013, the owner of the ground is King Power, which previously took over the club. For many fans, however, it is still Filbert Way, a dress-based nickname referring to the club's roots. Club's authorities are working on extending the stadium to over 40,000 seats. To make this possible, they purchased land to the east of the facility where the expansion could take place. Before the 2021-22 season, Leicester will replace the turf with a new one. London Stadium. The venue was built with the London Olympics in mind. In order to meet the needs of West Ham, in 2014 its reconstruction started. As part of it, a new roof was created, the largest of its kind in the world, as well as new demountable lower stands. All of this was done so that the football season and summer athletics could be held without bumping into each other. In August 2016, the Hammers debuted at the stadium. From 2020, only cashless transactions can be made at the facility. Last year, the ground received new LED lighting systems. Reconfiguration of the stands behind goals was also completed. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Inaugurated just over 2 years ago, Tottenham's new home is one of the most modern facilities in the world. Its build took 4 years and resulted in creation of the second largest ground in the Premier League. Among many design solutions, it's worth paying attention to the retractable pitch, which can be folded and hidden under South Stand for non-football events. The South Stand is the second largest single-tier tribune in the UK with 17,500 seats, though it's not perfectly single. Tottenham plans to build skyscrapers around the stadium with nearly 1,000 apartments. This is expected to improve the club's finances in the long run. Emirates Stadium. When opened in 2006, it was the second largest football ground in the Premier League and the third largest in England. Its construction took just over 2 years. It was originally called Ashburton Grove after the name of the street it was built on. Contract with the famous airline which is in the stadium's name will run until 2028. Auditorium was divided into 4 levels, the middle 2 of which are the smallest and are intended for business clients. The Arsenal Stadium is one of the best stadiums in the world in terms of match-day profits. It's also environmentally friendly. Batteries capable of storing 3 megawatts were installed in the basement of the facility. That's enough energy to power Emirates Stadium for 2 hours during a match. Elland Road. Appearance of the ground is dominated by the East Stand, which is twice the size of each of the other 3. Remaining sections look quite old in relation to the east side. In the 1919-20 season, the club had financial problems and there were even serious plans to demolish the stadium and turn it into a brickyard. Currently, Leeds United is developing plans to expand the venue to increase capacity from 38,000 to 55,000. Actions are not yet specified but are likely to include expansion of the north and east stands. Goodison Park. The decision to move to Goodison was made by Everton after failing to stay permanently at Anfield, where they played for 8 years. Since then, Goodison Park hosted more top-flight matches than any other in England. In 1958, the first under-soil heating system was installed. Not just first for Goodison, it was the first such installation in England. A major challenge came in the post-Hillsborough era, as 3 parts of the ground had terracing and needed conversion. One simply had seats installed, another saw a lower tier redevelopment, while the last, Southern, was simply demolished and rebuilt as a single-tiered end in 1994. Construction of the club's new facility at Bramley Moor Dock is likely to begin later this year. New stadium will accommodate 52,888 fans and will cost over £500 million. The goal is to open the new ground for the 2024-25 season. Villa Park. It's been Aston Villa's home since 1897. The club bought it in 1911. Over the years, the facility has undergone as many as 10 redevelopments. The largest modernisation works took place in the 90s, when the ground had to be reconstructed after Hillsborough. In 1992-94, a new North Stand was created, and in 2001, the largest 3-storey West Stand. It's the only stadium in England that has hosted international matches in 3 centuries. The first game of the England national team was in 1899 and the last one in 2005. St James's Park. The oldest existing stadium in the northeast of England and one of the most iconic football venues in the world. Newcastle United has been host there since 1892. The ground owes its unusual shape to local spatial constraints. In the 90s, it proved impossible to build a new stadium 200 metres away, so the club decided to rebuild. Another tier was added above 2 existing stands, making part of the stadium much grander than the rest, where there was no room for expansion. As a result, the largest externally supported roof in Europe was created. Molineux Stadium. Name of the stadium comes from the family that was one of the first owners of the land on which it was built. In 1932, the venue obtained 4 stands that served Wanderers for the next half a century. The biggest changes took place in the 90s. From October 1991 to December 1993, all stands were completely reconstructed. In 2011, the revamp of Stan Cullis Stand was started as the first stage of planned reconstruction. It was completed for the 2012-13 season, but further phases never came. For now, the club has put off plans to expand the stadium to 50,000, only introducing minor changes like safe standing. Selhurst Park. From bird's eye view, you can clearly see the classic division into 4 independent stands, creating an asymmetrical stadium. Like most British grounds, it has undergone many renovations throughout its history. Last major changes took place in 1994, when Holmesdale Terrace was demolished and replaced with a 2-tier stand. At the same time, a new roof was installed on the main stand. Club's plans for the near future assume the expansion of the stadium by over 8,000 seats. St Mary's Stadium. There were talks of the need to build a new facility in Southampton in the mid-80s. Before that happened, the club's former stadium, the Dell, was modernised. Only at the end of the 90s, it turned out there was a chance to move the club to a nearby plot, close to where the club was established. No wonder the stadium was named after St Mary, because the club was originally founded in a nearby church dedicated to her. Construction works took 1.5 years. The result is a single-tier ring for 32,689 spectators, which could be expanded up to 50,000 if necessary. American Express Community Stadium. Construction of the stadium started in 2009 and was preceded by many disputes. Before it could happen, the Seagulls had to move to Gillingham, 75 kilometers away. Before the start of the 2012-13 season, 5,000 seats were added, creating a second tier of the East Stand and closing corners of the South Stand. In early 2013, Brighton and Hove Albion added a further 3,000 seats to increase the capacity to 30,500. Since 2020, it's no longer possible to pay in cash at the stadium. Turf Moor. Burnley has been playing at Turf Moor continuously since 1883. Half of the stadium was rebuilt in the 90s, when 2 modern double-tier stands were built. The rest has not been reconstructed and still features single-level stands dating back to the 70s. In recent years, the club has filled 2 corners, including seats for the disabled. In May of this year, a digital transformation of the ground was announced to help both fans at the stadium and at home watch games. LED screens will be installed in 2 corners, among other digital signage. Carrow Road. The stadium was built in 1935 in a really impressive time. It only took 82 days. A characteristic element of the ground is the hotel, which is built into one of the corners. Next to it there is a unique rotating video screen. In early 90s, Carrow Road was converted into an all-seater stadium and the Barclays Stand was created to honour the club's vice president. In 2003, the South Stand was replaced with a new one, which was further expanded in 2005 by connecting it through Peterborough Stand. Continuous promotions and relegations are not conducive to long-term plans to expand the stadium. Vicarage Road. The venue has been home to Watford FC since 1922. One of the club's most famous fans is Sir Elton John, who even has his own stand to the east side of the stadium. In addition, the famous musician helped finance construction of Graham Taylor's stand, which has a characteristic wavy roof and 2 tiers. Rockery Stand is the place where the loudest fans of the Hornets sit. Watford FC are linked to a new stadium in Bushey, but expansion of Vicarage Road is also on the table. Brentford Community Stadium. The stadium opened 9 months ago and construction took less than 3.5 years. It will be the smallest stadium for this Premier League season, with a capacity of only 17,250 seats. The challenge was to build the facility on a triangular plot, which resulted in the formation of the stadium's shape, similar to a hexagon. Auditorium has single-tier stands. Their shape is irregular but provides optimal visibility from anywhere around the stadium. It was the last stadium in our overview of the Premier League venues for the 2021-22 season. Have you been to any of these marvels? Which ones? Let us know in the comments, we'd love to read about your Premier League stadium experience. If you like this presentation, please let us know by liking this video, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to make sure you don't miss any future videos. Make sure you visit stadiumdb.com for the latest stadium news. You'll also find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, where we cover all major stadium developments.